Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good vibes, good energy, good people. It's your boy Mickey Fenty, aka Mickey Made It. If you're new to this channel, you know what to do to this channel. Subscribe right now. Also, if you want to support my brand, it's inspiredbydreams.shop. And that's where you can go to get your drip on. And we got some new drops in there. You guys can go check it out to dress outside of the box. Okay, today's episode is very important. You know, I always cover our culture and just the different dynamics between different cultures and the things that we have in common and the things that are differences that just make people fuss and fight all the time. Today we're talking about the struggles of being biracial identity. Let's get it.
Mickey made it. Mickey made what you made, Mickey.
I don't think I've ever heard it being talked about, but let's talk about it. I don't think I've heard anyone talk about how hard it is being the only biracial person in your family. So on my mama's side, I'm the only biracial person. I'm the only half black, part black, corner black person there is. So if you know, then you know, and if you don't, then we can talk about it. Anyways, so here recently it's been brought to my attention that one of my family members feels the need that, or feels like they can use the N word with the hard ER. Mind you, this person is completely...
Before we go any further, the first thing is understanding. I'm glad she understands the difference and she knows that it's wrong. So once you have that, you know that you're going to break that when it comes down for her building her family. The tradition of just using improper the N-word and just talking down on people, it's not going to carry on past her. Let's get it.
100% Caucasian, white, whatever you want to call it. And it just totally grosses me out. It disgusts me that they feel like they have the ability to reference a black person utilizing the N-word regardless of the situation. I feel like if you're going to call somebody the N-word, you wanted to call them that. You want to refer to all of us like that. And that just disgusts me. It makes me feel so disgusted to be associated with anybody that feels like they can talk like that. And that is why I've chosen not to associate myself with this person. Do I owe them
And just because you have people in your family that might be racist doesn't make the whole family racist. It's always up to the individual to know the difference.
Explanation? No. Because you knew better. You're grown. You knew better. That is so mind-blowing that anyone would feel like they have the ability to utilize this word regardless of the situation. Like, I feel like if you use that word, that's what you wanted to say. That's what you want to reference us as. And that's just gross. And a lot of people will be like, oh, you're half white. I'm black. My birth certificate say I am black. I am proud to be black. I have children who have even more African American in them. That is so gross. Like, that boils my blood that they feel that they can talk like that. I don't know. Is it just my, like, we're from a small town, so like, is it just my family, or like, do anybody else feel like this? Does it get to other people like this, or is it just me?
I'm black and I'm white. I know it's mind-boggling. I know it's really tough for some of you guys to get it through your head, but I'm biracial. And being biracial means a couple different things. Number one, I'm definitely racially ambiguous. And number two, I receive a lot of privilege because of that. But that does not mean that I don't receive discrimination, bias, or colorism in the world we live in. That lady sitting behind me was a white woman. Her and I look nothing alike. In the society that we live in, if her and I walked into a room, she has more privilege than me. And that's the inequality that I speak on in my circumstance, in my situation, which is the literal definition of inequality. So for y'all who are belittling my experience, y'all can head out my comments now. Because I'm gonna be honest, number one, I have no room in my heart for hate. And number two, I have no room in my life for you. I have so much impact that I can provide to people in the...
And shouts out to all the biracial couples and families out there who just chose love first.
world who feel or resonate with some aspect of my story, and those are the people that I'm talking to, and those are the people that I'm serving. And if it's not you, then my message is not for you, and you can see yourself off my page. For those of you who are here because what I'm saying speaks to you and it's something that resonates with you, then I'm so glad, because I'm going to continue to post this content for the rest of my life. So if y'all are sick of it, like I said for the third time, see your way out of here. The main reason why I even create this content is to speak to an audience of people that I can impact, and to create a conversation that is polarizing, and it can be controversial because people don't want to have it these days. There is too much that I want to accomplish in my life, and there are too many people that I can impact, and too much money to be made in my life where I can help the people and support the loved ones around me that I want to. And so all of you who are supporting me, I appreciate you, and continue to watch for my content because it's not gonna stop.
So I am a black identifying biracial light-skinned woman. I have a white mom and a black dad. And recently, I just really noticed the fact that my white family will completely isolate and exile me from them simply for me speaking my truth and standing in my blackness because it makes them uncomfortable. For example, recently I just made a post on Facebook just telling my story and speaking my truth as a biracial woman, discussing how when I went to predominantly white schools, I obviously faced racism and discrimination, and I was bullied a lot for my hair. So I really didn't love myself, and I didn't think I was beautiful. And the parts of me that I did not think were beautiful were my blackness. But once I started going to predominantly black schools, that's when I began to love myself, because I was around people who looked like me, and I wasn't being discriminated against, and I wasn't being bullied for my blackness. So after I made that post, it was just really disheartening because I was getting so much love and support from like my black peers and friends, you know, people I've met along the way, but I literally received nothing, absolutely nothing, not a like, not a reaction or anything from any of my white family, including my white mother. And my mom is definitely one of those white women who just had a baby with a black man and did not feel like she had to educate herself. She's very ignorant when it comes to critical race theory, and she gets highly offended whenever we bring it up and talk to her about it. My dad is very pro-black. He has always educated us and taught us about critical race theory and our place, you know, like where we stand as biracial people in this world. So essentially, I feel like I was born and raised to be an activist, to speak up for black rights, to stand in my truth, and to start these conversations about racial and ethnic relations. I am genuinely passionate about it. I have always wanted to be an activist since I was a child. So it's really disheartening to know that when I do that, when I stand in my truth and speak about who I am and my people and the issues I notice in the world, that I receive no support from my white family. Not even just no support, like it's like you can tell they're like It's literally like I have to swallow my blackness to exist amongst them. And even more so, it's annoying because they treat me like I'm the ignorant one. Like I'm just causing drama and raising hell for no reason. And every time they show me that, it just shows me more and more like y'all will always be white people before you are the family members of black people in general.
Do you feel like I'm black?
No, I don't feel like I'm black. I feel like I'm biracial, but...
Okay, what a fun conversation. This is such an interesting concept to me because I am Mexican, black and white. My mother is half black, half white, but she was not raised by her white mother. So I grew up in a very black household. I have older sisters. They are chocolate and much darker than me. You can obviously tell they're black. And so I am a black woman. It's like that's just who I've always been. And I thought it was really interesting because about a year ago I had a conversation on 2 separate occasions with people who specifically asked me, "Oh, you identify as a black woman?" I was shooketh.
I'm biracial, right? I had a black mother, white father, but I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood, right?
And if you weren't black in my neighborhood, you were Hispanic. Okay. Now I look more like a Hispanic than I look black, obviously, but I didn't relate because I'm looking at my mother, a beautiful brown ebony skinned woman, and I don't look like her. My sisters were a little bit darker than me, and the kids didn't really accept me growing up, right? And I always would try to fit in to being and showing my blackness. Like I was like, I'm black. So when they kind of like ostracized me and made fun of me, then I would try to cling to the Hispanic because at least I looked more like them. But then, I don't know their language. I didn't know their music. And so I didn't feel like I fit in there. And so there was loneliness in that, where I was like this kid just climbing a tree. I would literally climb the tree and sit on the top of the tree like I don't belong anywhere. And yes, it created an incredible amount of insecurities that even when I got older, I had a hard time embracing my beauty, embracing that this is what I look like. So when all of a sudden my look became exotic, right? All of a sudden it was like a trend to be dark hair, dark eye, and curvy. And what are you? And more mixed children were being born. Then all of a sudden it was like, but you're beautiful, you're this. And I had a very hard time really equating beauty to what I look like.
I want to talk about the one drop rule. Because the one drop rule doesn't apply to mixed black people like me, but it would more likely apply to people like this, Kelly Curtis, an Olympian skeleton athlete. Let me explain. The one drop rule was a tool of racial classification primarily used in the 19th and 20th century. And it was used to qualify and quantify who was black. And the rule was, if you had one drop of black blood, then you were black. Some words they used to do this were mulatto, quadroon, and octoroon, words that we don't use anymore. A mulatto would be somebody who has about 50% black ancestry and about 50% white ancestry, or one black parent and one white parent. A quadroon would have 1/4 black ancestry and 3/4 white ancestry. And an octoroon is somebody who would have had 1/8 black ancestry. So if we were looking at their great-grandparents, it might look like they had 1 black great-grandparent and 7 white great-grandparents. And they would be considered legally black, even though it's very unlikely that they would look black. So the one drop rule wouldn't apply to me. It wouldn't apply to my child if my partner was white. It would apply to my child's child if my child's partner was white. And Kelly Curtis has openly stated that she does not want to be regaled as the first black skeleton Olympian. She recognizes that she has black ancestry, she recognizes that she is biracial, and she recognizes that she is not phenotypically black. These are Kelly Curtis's parents, and the news outlets that I've read have described her dad as black, and I do not know him, or how he identifies, or what his parents look like, but it would make sense that Kelly would come out looking the way that she looks. And while I do think that we should let multiracial people identify in the way that they want to identify based on their own life experiences, I do also think that calling Kelly Curtis the first black Olympian in the sport of skeleton is black erasure. I think even somebody that looks like me taking up too much space in blackness or being the face of blackness is also black erasure. Am I saying that Kelly Curtis or Kelly Curtis's father are not black? No. Am I saying that Kelly Curtis should be the black face of skeleton? No.
A biracial experience, and the biracial experience, I'm sorry, is not black.
This video is annoying for several reasons. For one, to say the biracial black experience, because biracial black people are black people, to say that their experience is not the black experience is to say that the totality of the black experience is oppression and discrimination and lack of privilege. And that's not the entirety of the black experience, right? And not all biracial black people are whitewashed. Some of them grow up in black homes and very much have a black experience. And then the biracial black man went on to say he doesn't feel like he has privilege. We absolutely have privilege as biracial people. And we need to understand that as biracial people, because that's where this resentment comes from monoracial black people. We can understand that there's different conversations for different experiences, and we can understand that biracial people have privilege without taking away their blackness. Because it's the same mindset that'll call biracial people confused, but neither side wants to claim them.
Really want to talk about this one drop rule and how it has just permeated the mindsets of African Americans
You calling somebody who has one black parent and one white parent black, by you doing that, you yourself are perpetuating white supremacy. You yourself are perpetuating the mindsets that slaveholders instilled in their slaves. I'm trying to get y'all to understand how problematic it is for you to continue to call people that are biracial, that's genetic makeup consists of white and black, and for you yourself to take it upon yourself to call them black. You yourself are saying, well, they gotta have black in them, so they all black. Just discount the white side. A lot of y'all are really seriously stuck in the assumption place and you don't even know it. Like, you don't even realize how bad slavery has impacted y'all, because slavery is over, but I've realized that the more things change, the more things stay the same. For me, it sheds a lot of light on the biracial condition. It just really puts things into perspective and lets you see, like I said, how the one-drop rule has permeated through the centuries and just completely filled the minds of black people and honestly brainwashed them to the extent that they're really out here claiming people who are mixed as one thing, not realizing how problematic that is, not realizing where that stems from. People on Twitter, Black Twitter, were claiming that Pete Wentz was an African American because one of his parents has African or Jamaican ancestry, just one of his parents, and the other parent is white. And somebody in the comment section pointed that out to me as if to say, well, he does have some black in him. Like, because Twitter was trying to claim that Pete Wentz was hiding his ethnicity and that he was, lying to the world about being black. Pete Wentz is not black. Pete Wentz having a part black mom does not make him black. Like, do you see how y'all are just taking that little one drop that's in his mom, that one part of DNA that is African, and you're just letting that just define his whole entire existence? Like, do you not see? I can't, in my mind, I'm not able to make the connection of how y'all are not making the connection. Me wanting to hold up a magnifying glass to a lot of African Americans so you can see just how your mindset might be affecting your reality, like, negatively.
If you identify as a mixed person, specifically black and white, in the US, there tends to be a negative connotation associated to that. The first one being that you're only mentioning your white side because you want the privileges associated to being half white. And the second one being that you have not accepted your black side to just accept the fact that you are a black person. That has led a lot of mixed people to feel like they don't really belong to either side, right? Luckily for me, it is an honor to be called a black woman, and I have absolutely no problem with that. However, I do have a question. And it specifically goes out to the people who really do get pressed over mixed people calling themselves mixed. You guys tend to be very pick and choosy of like which mixed people you do that to. Janae Aiko, for example, I don't know, maybe the conversations you guys are having are different, but I have never heard Janae Aiko referred to as a black woman. I've always heard her referred to as Blasian. And I'm not sure if you guys do that because, now she has two races that are both dominant, I guess, or it's because her facial features or just bodily features are not like evidently just black, so you do mention the other side. And I'm just confused, like, what exactly determines who can call themselves mixed and who cannot. At the end of the day, just call yourself whatever you want, identify however you want to, and then people will also treat you however they want to, right? So it doesn't really matter if you agree or not, but it is very interesting that you guys do that, and I'm actually a little perplexed by it.
Well, I can say this is a very interesting conversation because it feels like, how could you judge somebody for decisions that their parents made, or even deeper than that, decisions that their grandparents made? And it feels almost like to a point where like they're like stuck in the middle, not being accepted from both sides in some sense. And to me, it seems like when people push you away, it leads to rebelliousness and people just going out there and just with a lost sense of themselves, and it never turns out any good. I feel like, we have to have a better understanding of each other and know that we are all on this earth together, and the decisions people made before us are what got us here today. So we gotta wisen up, man. You guys leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think about it, and we can continue this conversation on my morning show, 9 a.m. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Love you guys, and see you next time. Until next time, it's your boy Mickey Fenty, aka Mickey Made It. If you're new to this channel, you know what to do to this channel. Subscribe.